What's up, military millionaires? I'm your host, David Perret. Today we had an exciting episode with Joe Renola where we talk about everything. So, Joe is a New York City police officer, a real estate agent, a life insurance agent, real estate investor. He's got a big new company coming out called Blue Wealth, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But what we wanted to do was a very unique episode. So, this is part one where Joe and I are talking about everything he's doing and how busy he is and his hustles, and then we're going to do a part two and maybe a part three where we show where all the work paid off, because there's this overnight success concept where people see someone just blew up overnight, but they don't get to see and document all of the hard work along the way. And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to showcase that for you so that you could see everything that this guy's putting in, so that as he grows and as he balloons into this quote overnight success, we can go back and say, well, this is what he was doing and this is how he did it, because that's the part that people really want to see. So if this is your first time listening, thanks for joining the community. This podcast is produced every week for your enjoyment. Show notes are found at militarytomillionaire.com/podcast. Now relax and enjoy the show.
You're listening to the Military Millionaire Podcast, a show about real estate investing for the working class. Stay tuned as we explore ways to help you improve your finances, build wealth through real estate, and become a person that is worth knowing.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Dave from Military to Millionaire. I am here with Joe Renola. So Joe and I got hooked up on Instagram, and he reached out. We were talking. Joe is a police officer in New York City, and it is New York City, right? I
Yeah.
didn't even confirm that before. I was so confident that I didn't ask, and then I second-guessed myself. I should have just not second-guessed myself.
Yes, New York
So
City.
police officer in New York City with a bunch of side hustles, and we were just kind of talk through his investment journey, his side hustle journey, and how he's balancing everything, and really just hear his story. So, Joe, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Really, thank you for having me. I've been following you for a while, actually, since I first heard you on one of the Bigger Pockets podcasts. And you really are. You're very interactive with all your followers, which is awesome. I mean, you've responded to all of my Instagram DMs. You followed me back on LinkedIn. We spoke there. You like my Instagram pictures. I mean, look, I'm on this podcast because I reached out and commented on a picture of yours. So that's pretty cool. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for being approachable and everything. It's very cool. So yeah, it's actually the first podcast I've ever been on too. So
Hell
pretty
yeah.
cool.
That's exciting.
So yeah, so I'm Joe. I'm 27 years old. I'm from New York, and I do a million things. I'm trying to finally get to that level of financial freedom, that will let my future family and I do what we want when we want. So I'll give you a brief rundown of all of my craziness, and we can, talk more in depth about whatever you'd like.
Awesome.
So first and foremost, I am an active police officer. Takes up a huge amount of time. There is zero consistency. It's long hours. I mean, that has to be my biggest obstacle, I feel, for my success. There's just no consistency. So, maybe today I was supposed to do a day tour, right? So I think I'll be free at nighttime. So I start to schedule everything for night. And then all of a sudden we get a call that, oh, actually there's probably going to be a shooting tonight. So, we got to change our tour. Instead, you'll come in at 9 p.m. and we're going to hang out in the alleged area. We'll be proactive in stopping it from happening. You know what I mean? So now it's like my whole day's flipped. And then, on the flip side, maybe tomorrow I'm supposed to go in at nighttime, but then I get a call, hey, come in tomorrow 4 a.m. We're doing a search warrant. It's insane. So, I can't do things like the miracle morning where you have to set a regimen of waking up at this time, exercising at this time, reading, which I would love to do. That's the kind of stuff I want to get into. I want to have that nice regimen in the morning, but it's just, it's so tough with the zero consistency. So, I feel like that's a little obstacle in my success. But not to mention that most days are well past 8 hours. I mean, I'd say 12 to 14 hours a day at my police job is more like the average, and sometimes it's even double that.
I was going to say,
don't get me wrong.
we were going
Yeah,
to talk a few days ago, and it was like New Year's Eve, and I didn't even think about it. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're going to be at work all night.
we started at 9:45 in the morning, and I got home at like 3:30 in the morning, I think.
Ugh.
Torrential downpour. We're all standing out there, just no cover. I got home like my undershirt was soaked, and I had like 30 layers of things on top of that. It's just Oh God, insane. But it's at the same time, it really is one of the best jobs I could ever. It has to be one of the best jobs in the world. I mean, it's so exciting. It's just so different. I mean, every day, yeah, no consistency, none of that. But also, you never know what you're going to be doing today. It's not the same sitting at a desk for 9 hours or whatever. You get your little lunch break. You can go. It's just craziness. So that's also another thing. A lot of people on the path to financial freedom, they have the eventual goal of like leaving their job somewhat soon. I would say. I want to stay. Um, I do want to continue to. I work very hard at this job too. I'm not just like here just as like a plant, but I'm working hard on all my other stuff. I work very hard at work also. I just got into a specialized unit, so there's a lot of things happening here, and I'm only looking to go further and further and further. So I do want to stay here for the time being. I mean, if I start making my millions on the side, I'll have to I have to rethink everything. But as of now, I want to keep working hard, going far here, and keep working hard on my side things.
Yeah.
So that's police. Next up, I got my real estate license last year. So I'm
Yeah.
actively trying to, yeah, real estate. Want to get into investing and all that stuff. So I'm actively trying to build on that business when I'm not working, which again is often. So it's a little difficult, but there were two main reasons I went for that. First one was to make side money because, listen, as much as I love the police department, I don't make enough for the lifestyle that I want and to be able to get the investments that I want, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, you could sell a house and make a $10,000, $15,000 commission. I can go, I could maybe get a house, get myself an investment property or something. Or that could be
Exactly.
a big chunk towards the down payment.
Yeah.
So that was my pretty much my main reason. Second reason was to actually learn the whole real estate business for real estate investing because I do want to become a real estate investor. Once I got the license and I got involved in real estate, I am noticing it is two very different things. A lot of the things I'm learning in real estate aren't really applicable to the investment side, but I am this year actually, I'm looking to become a specialist in getting multifamily listings and selling multifamilies. So I feel like that will at least put me around investors more so and that whole mindset a lot more, which will kind of, maybe it'll kill two birds with one stone like I was hoping. Um, this year with real estate, I'm trying to come out with like content. I'm actually currently writing an ebook. It's like a quirky take on the frustrations of living in Staten Island. Yeah, yeah. We're a borough of New York City. There's 5 boroughs. We're one of them, but we're always treated like the runt of the pack. It's like everyone in New York City is getting this except Staten Island. It's just time and time again. We get screwed out of everything. Everything that's supposed to happen here never happens. It's
You're
laughable
like the
after a little while.
Marine Corps.
Yeah. Okay. So it's just it's going to be like a quirky thing on that, but then at the same time, it's going to be packed with information on buying, selling your house, dealing with multifamilies, financial planning. I'm going to have all that stuff in there too. Um, so the point of that is all of my subscribers will get it for free once it's published. And, I'm going to really market it, get it out there. So hopefully I get a lot of subscribers in my real estate newsletter and all that. I actually wrote about like, what was it? I think 14,000 or 15,000 pages in a week. Not pages,
I was just
words.
say, holy smokes! I mean, that's still impressive. Most of my blog posts are like 1,500 to 3,000 words, and I don't, that'll be like a day or two of writing and
Sure.
editing. So
No,
14,000 is
sure.
a lot.
Yeah, once I started writing, that was always my favorite subject in school, like, English and writing and all that. I would always grade higher in those classes than anything else. So I don't know, once I started writing, I couldn't stop. So I think I Googled it, like how many pages in a book is 14,000 words. I think I'm at like 20 something, maybe 26 pages. It's going to be a quick free ebook. So I'm looking to go maybe 35, 40 pages, something like that. So I'm almost there. Maybe within a month or so, I should have it hopefully out and ready to go.
That's awesome.
Then I can call myself an author.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's just a cool thing. I downloaded your the first term wealth. It's pretty
My
cool.
first attempt at writing. It's not nearly that long.
No, but it was cool. I like the pictures and everything. It's good. It's good. Very good.
Appreciate it.
So The book, I did that in the first week. I wrote the 14,000 or so words. It slowed down the last couple of days because, I've been working around the clock, but, I'll have it done soon. I'm also brainstorming up like a YouTube channel I'd like to create, kind of like your videos, just quick little things in there, little tidbits, but it's good content. It's good. Someone could sit there and listen for 3 to 5 minutes and you'll learn something, it's so I'm
Yeah.
looking to do that. Um, I had actually just listened to a book on Audible. It's called Sell It Like Sirhant. I think it's from Ryan Sirhant. He's on like one of those, million dollar listings, one of those shows. It was actually very, very entertaining. And
Yeah.
as far as for like the real estate side, it's really fun to listen to. You actually learn a lot of stuff. What I do is when I listen to an Audible, I have the notes open on my iPhone, and I just like I write down anything good. I have like a separate folder for each book, and I wrote down a lot for that book. He really it was pretty good, and he really got me into this content thing. He's always
Hmm.
doing his videos and this and that. It was very good. So I've been trying to come up with the ideas for the vlog. I already have my video guy. I just got to make the ideas come to fruition.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, and actually this week, I think it was like 3 days ago, I just actually hired a virtual assistant for the real estate thing,
I need to
which
do that.
was it's pretty cool. It's like I have this guy emailing me like, "Hey Joe, so all right, listen, today I'm going to do this," and it's awesome actually. So I went on Upwork.com
I'll
and
have to.
yeah, check it out. Upwork.com. You actually you could do like a job posting. I typed out this whole thing. I don't know. It was like 10 paragraphs of like what I would like and what I need and what I got going on and this and that. And I figured, all right, we'll see. And I woke up the next morning. I had like 15 people requesting to do it. And then that day, I got like another 10, another 10. I keep getting emails that people are still applying, but so I weeded through a lot, and there were a lot of very good, seemingly very good people that applied for it. I just, I weeded it out down to this one guy, Ryan. So hopefully it goes well. He just because see, my thing is because I'm so busy with everything, I can't do like lead generation and call expired listings and stuff like that. So I figured, if I could pay this guy for now, maybe 3 hours a week, something like that, and that's 3 hours of this guy just hitting the phone, hitting the phone, hitting the phone. If that can get me a listing in a month or 2 months, or even if it takes 6 months to get me a listing, hey, then you got a listing. It's nice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I'll see how that goes. Like I said, he only worked. I think Friday was his first day, so this will be my first full week for that. So see how it goes. I'm gonna keep it going for a couple months at least. Um, and like those guys on the couple that was on your podcast recently. Listen, if it's money lost, it's tuition.
Yep.
I like that. That's how I look at everything now. My friend, we were in Atlantic City for my sister-in-law's 21st birthday on Saturday, and my friend lost a lot of money gambling. So I said, you know what? It stinks, but that's gambling tuition.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you don't play that game. Um,
No, I know. I didn't lose anything, but I don't do that.
I like that you said
But
you're going to test them out for a few months. I just
yeah,
want to key in on that because a lot of people would, if you didn't get a listing in the first couple of weeks, it might be tempting to be like, "Ooh, this didn't work. I tried it," and that's not the reality. Stuff takes time, and if you don't give it time, so that's a good mentality to have.
thank you. Yeah, no, I had a conversation with myself about that. I was like, because I could see, when the money's coming out of the checking account week after week after week, and there's nothing coming from that. I figured it could get a little tough, but I'm like, no, I'm just going to stay the course, because at the end of the day, you don't get a listing from calling someone once or twice. Most of the time, you really got to get out there and reach out and reach. You got to call 1,000 people to maybe have, five entertain you with the conversation, and maybe you'll get one listing out of that. So it'll take them a few months probably. So exactly, you gotta stick with it. Um, there will be light at the end of the tunnel eventually, hopefully,
Yep.
usually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's real estate. Next up, I also got my life insurance license last year. Weird, but so I hooked up with a retired lieutenant and his partner who were financial planners. I sat down with them originally just to make sure that I'm doing the right thing with all of my investments, my 457k stocks, etc. Um, and it turns out we kind of clicked right off the bat, and I ended up on their team. So it's the three of us. We're actually starting a huge thing that I wholeheartedly believe in. I'll plug it later. I'll get a little bit deeper into it later so people could check it out if anyone's interested. But the basic premise is that, just going out throughout life. I mean, a lot of cops, just from working with them and people in general, you don't know much about your money, your retirement, your investments, et cetera. So we have a thing called deferred comp, deferred compensation. I mean, pretty much everyone has it, but so you just put away, put away, put away, oh yeah, I'll put 10% of my paycheck in there, 12% or whatever. You feel accomplished, yeah, 12% of my paycheck's going into this, but what are you putting away in? Are you putting in the right funds? Are you protected as much as possible for the next downturn?
Yeah.
Do you have other do you have other investments to supplement your beloved deferred comp? And with a job like this, where you're running towards gunshots while the rest of the world runs away, and you see so much death and tragedy, and you work until 6 a.m. only to go home, shower, come back at 8 a.m. to work another 12 hours. You deserve to retire from that when it's time and not have to get a second job or worry about money or your investments running out. So that's exactly what we're looking to help our fellow cops out with. And like I said, anybody, I mean, anybody could benefit from this, because even a civilian job, I mean, you don't want to work till you're 65 and then you realize, wow, I still got to actually go like another 10 years if I want to, you know what I mean? Who wants to do that? So I'll talk about that after we go through the rest. Got two more points to hit on.
I like it.
So the other thing is it has to do with real estate as well. I am an aspiring real estate investor, Bigger Pockets Pro. I'm a pro member.
Yeah.
I just invested that. I've invested in that this year, and it really is awesome. Like you said in one of your YouTube videos, just having that blue circle with the pro opens doors, man. Opens doors to conversations, and people realize that you got some skin in the game. You might be a little more apt to following through with this and such. Not that someone who isn't pro wouldn't, but it's just it just shows you got some skin in the game.
It's
So I
it's the same subconscious thing that makes us click up in high school and everything else, right? You see someone that's like you, and you're just drawn to them. It's humankind, and people don't like it, but it's the reality. That's how humans operate.
absolutely. So and plus I keep messing around with that. I love that rental calculator.
Oh yeah,
Awesome. I'm trying to, I'm still, I try to do 3 to 5 properties per week. Um, I just got the Bigger Pockets, the 90 Days of Intention journal. So, that's one of my goals, 3 to 5 or so a week. I got 4 last week. So, I want to keep analyzing until I could, do it like, no issue. I know what I'm looking at. Because the biggest thing when I first started analyzing the properties was, all right, I got these numbers, but what does it mean? Is it good? Is it not good? Would it be worth it getting into this? I mean, and that's the scariest thing, especially when it's your first property. You know, uh, Getting the wrong property the first time around, it could be detrimental to your real estate investing. I mean, who would want to go forward after that huge loss? So that first one is just scary to get it correctly. It doesn't have to be a home run, but just something that's cash flowing a little bit, and it's not a nightmare.
yeah.
So that's what I'm going for. Not to put you on the spot, but you should do some videos of you analyzing properties with the calculator. If you ever get the time, you ever get the chance, do it. That'd be a cool video for you to do, just so we could see someone who actually is a legitimate real estate investor with a bunch of properties, et cetera, et cetera. It would be awesome to watch you do it. See what you put in these certain, the growth and this and that. I want to see, what a pro puts in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know if I
No.
call myself a pro, but I actually, that's a cool idea. So I did like a analysis Wednesday segment on my YouTube channel for a little bit, but all I really did was talk about like formulas. I think I kind of walked through like one property, but it was super basic. I didn't do,
Okay.
so I might have to touch that again because I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely, because it's something that a lot of us new guys that don't have the property yet, that we don't have that first property or anything yet. I would just like to see someone do it who is out there doing it. You know what I mean? Learn something. So that'd be cool. And then my biggest thing right now, I guess, is I'm trying to find like a city or town or whatever to invest in. I'd like the first one, since it's my first property again, I'd like it to be somewhat near me. Just, I know David Green's I didn't read his book yet. I bought it. I just didn't get around to it yet. I will be soon. But his long distance real estate investing book. Um, I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it will work. But just my first one, I want near me. So maybe Pennsylvania, New Jersey, something like that. If anyone that's listening to this, please shoot me an email if you got any great cities or towns or anything. Um, and then I guess between that, finding a place, and then just capital is my other issue right now. So I'm going to need some of those creative ideas. I've really actually been looking into seller financing lately. If I can find a property that could do some seller financing, I feel like that's how I can actually probably get a house, maybe this year, hopefully.
Yeah.
So have you ever done a property with seller financing?
Yeah, so I haven't done like 100% seller financing, but I've
Okay.
got two properties with seller financing on them. One of them's a 10 unit, and it was like 85% bank finance, 10% seller, and then 5% out of my
Okay.
pocket. And it
Very cool.
my best cash flowing property. So
Yeah. See, that's it. That's all I'm reading. I put the keyword alerts on for like seller or owner financing on Bigger Pockets. Now every time it pops up, I'm getting an email about it, and I jump into the conversation. I want to learn all about it. Uh, I just kind of I'm listening to the podcast Bigger Pockets and reading the forums and the blogs, et cetera, for a year or two now. But I don't know. This is the first time it actually clicked. Like, wait a second, seller financing. This could work. So now I'm like, really, it's all I'm trying to read about since last week. So
it's a
gonna
good
keep working on
strategy.
that.
The best part
Yeah,
about seller financing is that it's totally negotiable. So whatever you and the other party agree to is what works. There's no restrictions. It's as creative as you want to get.
exactly. And it can help everyone out. I mean, it helps me get my property. It helps the seller. He can make some money more than he would by putting all that money into a just a savings account or something like that. You're making some interest on your money. If you have it to spare. So it could definitely work out for everybody. Just gonna keep reading and researching that, and I really think that's gonna be the way to my first property. Um, so next, on top of all of this insanity, I was going for my master's degree throughout all of this. Brutal. That was probably one of the worst ideas I ever had. But I just completed it a few months ago, this past October. I majored in criminal justice and received an advanced certificate in terrorism studies. I chose terrorism actually because of 9/11. It was so devastating. I mean, of course, the entire world felt it, but those of us right here in New York City, I mean, I was young, 10 or 11 years old, but it was just so profound. And I was affected in a few ways. My father is a captain for American Airlines, so it was even more horrifying for me. American Airlines plane crashes. So until I got to hear
Mm.
from him, thank God he was safe and sound. And then my stepfather was an NYPD detective at the time, so he was off that day. He was upstate golfing with all of his, work buddies. And the second it happened, they all drove 100 miles an hour back home. They suited up and they just went in to save lives or do whatever they can. We didn't see him for probably, I think, 2 months, like 2 months. I think it was like 12, 16, 18, 20 hours a day, whatever it was. We didn't even see him. So, that's just what it was. It was digging for survivors, then remains, then coordinating the hundreds of funerals for all the first responders. And most first responders that work there, my stepfather included, have gotten weird types of cancer from inhaling everything down there. And thank God my stepfather survived his, but many didn't, and many are still getting sick to this day. A lot of people don't realize that, but it's scary.
Yeah, that's people don't think about second and third order effects like that. So I was around, for one, like in Afghanistan, we burned all our trash, and
Okay.
like everything in a big pile, and it was, I mean, everything from human feces to your chemical crap, and we like lit the fire with a flamethrower, so it was super safe. But there's people stirring it and having to burn stuff. But then there was also, when I first got there, a big supply maintenance unit like fire, where everything that was stored on base went up in smoke. And that's like, it's all
Wow.
documented in my medical record, because they're like, someday
Okay.
you may have issues with this. And people don't think about that. Now there's studies coming out. And I didn't even think about that for yours, but holy smokes. Yeah, that would have been a much larger scale than what I was exposed to, because at least in the desert, there's a lot of open air for things to go. um,
Yeah.
Man, yeah, I can't imagine the effects that's having on people's lungs.
Yeah, a lot of very sad stories, and like I said, people still getting sick and dying to this day. Cops, firemen, just volunteers, everyone who was down there. It was just terrible. It's terrible. But 9/11, the whole terrorism thing that I went to for school, I think the main goal for many of us, rather than in the past, it was always like, yeah, I want to lock up the worst of the worst bad guys and make my difference that way. I think now it's the main goal for a lot of people that join these, military, police, again, firefighter, first responder, whatever. One of the main goals is actually to probably ensure that 9/11 never happens again. Like that's right up there, I would say. So that's why I went for this degree. I think I want to one day I want to end up in like the Joint Terrorism Task Force, where my day job is to literally like to hunt terrorists. I mean, I can't see a job that's better than that. You know. Um,
And you got to love all the Facebook posts that fly around with people claiming terrorism. And you're like, okay, by definition, that's not even remotely close to terrorism. Just because someone did something you don't like does not mean I lose my mind, because I'm like, we get all this training on terrorism and there's a very
mhm.
specific definition, and people post stuff. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, have you ever even looked up the definition of terrorism? Like,
It's
that's
oh
not it.
God. I could spend if I that's I try not to even look at Facebook because I see some of these things and now I could spend my whole day just like fighting back and forth with it. I just can't do it. So I
I
don't even.
just unfollow.
Yeah,
Yeah, just get rid of it.
yeah. Same. I don't even. I can't. But another thing that with this whole thing is one of my biggest regrets is that I never joined the military. I look back now, at 27, I'm like, I wish at 18, I wish I would have went in and whether it was the Marines or the Air Force, because my father was, he's a captain with the airplane, so I figured maybe the Air Force would have been something cool for me. I don't know. I just wish I would have joined the military. So thank you guys for your service. I mean, it's definitely it's very it's a crazy thing, crazy,
It's
very tough. So
very similar line of work in its own way. And it's like parallels, right? The police, law enforcement, fire department, like public service and service members, it's all similar motives for joining, similar crazy hours, similar story. And I think it all kind of goes hand in hand, but it's a good gig most of the time. I don't know.
yeah,
It depends on your fit. I've actually looked at getting out and joining the law enforcement before. So
yeah,
I think there's a draw for all three of those, because all three of them are like the perfect place for an adrenaline junkie to have a career.
absolutely. So now you're still active or
I
you're
am,
reserve?
yes. No,
You are active. Okay,
so
very cool.
got 2 years left on this contract, and we'll see what happens when I get towards the end of it. If I stay in, go reserves, get out,
Cool.
open book.
All right, very cool. Well, at least you got the options. It's life. It's what life's all about, just having your options open.
Exactly.
But okay, so last out of everything I'm doing,
Yep.
last but definitely not least, I have to be a husband first and foremost. I'm blessed with the best wife, I could have ever asked for. She gets all of my insanity and craziness with this road to financial freedom. I mean, where a lot of other guys, you come home from work and now it's downtime. You want to watch some TV shows with your wife, go out to dinner, hang out, etc. She knows that the minute I get home from work, I'm now jumping on my laptop and I'm getting right back to work essentially. And she understands it. She knows it's for an eventual far better lifestyle that we're both aiming towards. She's helping too. I mean, she works her butt off. She teaches in the daytime and she works at her father's pizza bar or restaurant at nighttime. By the way, I have to plug that in. If you're ever in New Jersey or New York, because it's very close, come hang out. We'll go for dinner there. There's 4 locations. For my New Jersey people, there's one in Red Bank, Hoboken, Brick, and Paramus. It's called Urban Coal House. It's the best wings. It's this big 800, 900-degree coal-fired oven. It's great pizzas, awesome beers, always rotating list, cocktails, TVs everywhere. It's cool. I mean, I want to like start having like bigger pockets meetups there or something.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool if you're ever in the area, hit me up and we'll go for a meal there, a couple drinks, and we'll
That's
hang out.
funny, because I was going to tell you that that when I finally make it to New York, that I'd have to hit you up and figure out where to go. So that works
Absolutely.
for me. It's kind of a funny story. I don't know if it's really funny. It's still probably not funny to me. But I was in North Carolina training, and I had a 4-day weekend, and I was like, perfect. I've been to Washington D.C. once. I'm going to go
Okay.
explore. And I was like, I'm going to do that on day one. And then on day 2 and 3, I'm going to New York because I've always wanted to explore New York. And I'm just going to get lost on my own. And then I'll drive back. And
Sure.
in DC, I spent the day driving around, walking around everywhere, whatever. And when I was done with the day, I caught a cab back to my hotel. And somehow my phone came out of my pocket in the cab.
Oh God.
And I spent the next 3 hours trying to chase the cab down. Like I knew the taxi number, I had a receipt, whatever, but like nobody could get a hold of the guy. The phone wasn't there. So it just sure like ended up on the black market. Who knows? But apparently the world doesn't sell maps anymore. So the only place I found a map was like $100 map of the US, like the entire US. Every gas station I stopped in had nothing. And so finally, after like,
Wow.
6 hours, it's late at night, I'm pissed. I was like, you know what? I guess New York's not happening. I'll just turn around and drive south because I don't know. I was like, if I drive 3 or 4 more hours north, I don't know where I'm going. I don't want to risk that. So
Yeah.
still not. One of these days, my brother was actually there this week, but one of these days I'll make it out there because I've always wanted to visit.
It really is. It really is unlike anywhere else in just the sheer denseness and just craziness and busyness that really is going. I mean, I try to go all over the place. I mean, I'm always in my father's side of the family is actually in Chicago, so I spend a decent amount of my time between New York, Chicago, and then I try to hit up a bunch of cities. I love traveling, but there's just really nothing like the insanity that is New York. It really is nuts, and it's everywhere you look, it's just buildings and this and then just crazy people. It really is a very cool place to be. It's definitely worth a couple of days of just checking. A lot of people come here, from smaller towns or whatever, and they don't like it. They hate it. That's like the things that they hate about it, that craziness and just never stopping. But give it a try for yourself, and it's awesome. It really is. Where are you from originally? You're not from Hawaii your whole life, right?
No, no, no. I was born in NorCal, but I grew up in
Oh,
Arkansas,
cool.
so Midwest.
Oh, very
So
cool. Very cool.
much, much less of a city guy. Although I've been to Tokyo and some other large places, and I enjoyed it. I would never live there, but
Yeah, yeah.
I enjoy it for a break. I guess not a break,
Sure.
but, you know.
I'm
um,
dying to go to Tokyo. I want to go to Japan so bad.
Tokyo's fun. Japan
Has to be.
itself they got some good culture. It's a good time.
Yeah, very cool. So yeah, and we'll hang out when you come here, and with my wife, just to add to the craziness that is our lives as well, just to show like it's really never a dull moment around here. I don't know if you like Disney, but our wedding was actually featured on the Disney Fairy Tale Weddings
Oh
holiday
yeah,
special TV show last year. It was
that's pretty cool.
it was insane. I mean, we were getting married in Disney regardless because she's a Disney fanatic her whole life. She got me really into it. And then 3 months before the wedding, she saw that the show was accepting applicants for people getting married that October or November. So we got married November 11th of 2017. So she applied. She sent over a story about us and a bunch of pictures, and that's what they wanted. They actually called us back like a couple days after that. So then we jumped on Skype with them. They put us through to the director of the show. He loved us. The minute he's like, "You're in." We're like, what? Like what? We're in. We're on the show. It was nuts. It was a once in a lifetime experience. We had 200 of our family and friends down in Disney celebrating this craziness,
That's
and
cool.
it was nuts. And actually, probably the best part, if not one of the best parts, was that since it was a holiday special, it had everything was so Christmassy. And for us last year, it was Christmas time from the minute they came to New York to start filming us, which was in September, until after Christmas. So we had 3 months, 3 solid months of Christmas time last year. I love Christmas time,
Yeah, that's really cool.
and it just last year it never ended. My mother-in-law was yelling at us because her birthday is in September, and we had to like decorate for Christmas and all that because they were coming to start filming. She's like, I gotta tell you, is I never put up a Christmas tree on my birthday. You're nuts, but it was so funny. But
That is
once in a
pretty
lifetime
fun.
experience, amazing. So yeah, that's everything I'm doing. Police, real
Yeah,
estate, aspiring real estate investing, financial planning thing. Thank God the master's is done. Newlywed. It's just there's so much going on. There's so much to do. That's one thing I do like though. Like I'm never bored because if I'm sitting around doing nothing, it's like, oh good, I can work on this, I can work on that. So that's not a bad part to it. I
that's
just had to
exciting.
order the AirPods, the Apple AirPods, because just, whenever I'm doing something, I could always have these little, at least one of them. I could have one in my ear, and I could have my Audible on. I could have my, my podcast on. You know what I mean? Just constantly learning, constantly doing something. I always have to be doing something.
I like
So,
it. So for those of you listening, we did this show more to showcase the hustle and what you can be doing in your free time. People talk about not having time. The reality is that you need to find your why and figure it out, because there's a way. So if Joe here can work a full-time job as a New York City police officer, arguably one of the most ridiculous schedules out there and probably most busy jobs you will find, as well as running, a couple different side hustles and becoming a real estate investor and still finding time to be, a spouse and have time with his family, you can do it. And that's kind of where we showcase. We wanted to show that side, because people always talk about like the success and the overnight success and this, that, and the other for podcasts. But the part people don't show is like the part that sucks when you're first starting out.
oh,
So we're showcasing, hey, look, this is everything that's going on. And then we're going to do a part 2 or a part 3 or whatever and say like, hey, look,
sure.
this is where I made it. I'm now a overnight success. I hate that term. That's why I always air quote it, because people say it and I'm
Oh,
like,
me too.
yeah, overnight, because they finally got their book published after 6 years of work. And now you know who they
Yes.
are. Like, um,
No, let me tell you something. It really is. That is what I want to get across to people, is that when you're in it, it's tough, man. It's like there's just no light you're just, the head is down, you're in the tunnel, and you're just going and going and going, and it seems like, this is just never ending. Like, and then you go on Instagram and you see this guy, he's selling his thing, and this guy's famous for this and this, and it's like, you get like pissed off reading about all these people, because it's like, God, I'm working so hard, and it seems like everyone else got it going on but me. But everyone that is successful went through this stage. You got to do it. You got to grin it. You got to grin and bear it. It's just, there's no other way. There's just no other way to go. So right now, this is my tough part. But you know what? You keep pushing at it. You keep, look, the time's going to pass anyway. 5 years, 1 year, 10 years, it's going to pass anyway. If you're doing all these little things, these little steps, and working and working and working, you, the way you'll come out in the end of it is eventually it's what you want. They say, live a few years like no one else will, so that you could live the rest of your life like no one else can. And I really do see that. I finally got some light, coming through into my tunnel. We closed my first financial planning deal last week. So that was finally like, a couple months of work and grinding at that. All right, I got a little reprieve. I closed my first deal. Good. I sold my first house. We closed on that maybe 3 or so weeks ago. That was nice too, because I got my license in like beginning to mid 2018, and I just grinded for a couple months and just nothing's going on, and then I got the listing, and I didn't stop until I sold that listing, and I got a nice little commission check, and it's nice. It's just, there was a little bit of light. I finished right around the same time I finished this the master's degree, so now that's off my plate. It's just like, you just got to keep going. It's gonna happen. And this just, I'm trying to reach this message to those guys and girls who are like me. You're in that stage where you're in the going part. It's gonna happen. It's going to happen, believe it or not. Just keep fighting, and don't stop, because if you stop, then it's like you did all this and then you just got to go back to mediocrity anyway. It's like, for what? So just keep fighting, keep going. Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's
it
gonna
just
happen.
takes some time. So before we start to wrap things up here, I want to hear
Sure.
a little bit more about this blue wealth.
Sure. So Blue Wealth got a cool logo. It's got a rhino in it. Check our Instagram out. It's at Blue Wealth PD. That's Peter David. PD. Actually, it's like it's your initials backwards.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's, yeah. So at Blue Wealth PD, like,
Right
please come on.
now.
So I'm looking to make this huge. I want it almost like a bigger pockets-esque forum eventually in a couple of years, and that it's all encompassing and can be a community of people. Mostly, obviously, like I said, we're going for like first responders, police officers. But you're coming together to discuss and learn about, correctly setting yourselves up for the future. So I actually created a 5-step educational series that you'll get once you subscribe to our emails. So once per day, so you subscribe and then you get your welcome email. And then after that, once per day for 5 days, you'll get an email with some financial knowledge in it. Anything from how the stock market works to good ways that a police officer with such a varying schedule can still make some money outside of the job. Yeah, it's designed to give you some information that you may not have known or expand your current knowledge on these subjects. And we just want you to sit down with us at the end, which is complimentary, and we want to make sure that you have the correct investments for you, and that when it's time to retire, 6 months later, I don't want you ending up working as a security guard in the hospital that you used to drop the perps off at for the last 20 years. So it's like, I got to sit there and deal with it all over again. And, for the next 20 years of your life. Listen,
Yeah.
if you want to do that, that's fine. You want to taste of the action again, whatever it may be, but I don't want you to have to do that to stay afloat. I mean, everybody wants to be the grandma, grandpa, or whatever that can help their children and grandchildren succeed in life. I mean, if you play your cards right, you can give your grandchild a house as an investment when they're born, like Brandon from Bigger Pockets. He gave his daughter, his daughter has a house. She's what, 2 years old?
Yeah.
And you teach them all about that as they grow up. Like, this is your investment. This is your house. This isn't the stuff that you get in school. And, then they'll have 1,000 times more of a chance of being successful themselves. And, then they can pass it on. There's nothing more fulfilling than that. Um, Another cool thing is we're actually looking for cops to join us from every department across the country and be a Blue Wealth like representative in their respective department in their cities and towns. So, you can join our team. I mean, there's nothing better than making a little bit of money while legitimately helping people help generations of their family. So, email us if that interests you. Email us at contact@bluewealthpd.com. That could be cool. We're really trying to start something big here.
I like it. And I like the name. It's catchy.
Thank you, thank you. Um, yeah, and then I guess just lastly, I know that your question is always like, if you help, if someone young or whatever came up to you and asked you for some general advice, what would you tell them? So I'll end it with that. It would be tough to consolidate so many things into just a few minutes, and I'm only 27. I mean, I'm not that much older. I still need a lot of advice myself, but essentially, it's just start now. Start learning about and doing real estate investing. Pour over Bigger Pockets until you can't physically read another word without your head exploding, and then do that again tomorrow. Start your retirement account, put money away always. Start a whole life policy and let that cash value build. Now, real quick, this is especially important if you ask me, because you could touch that money. It's not like a 401k where you have to wait until you're 59 and a half and then you still have to be taxed on that, et cetera, et cetera. This is post-tax, completely liquid, and always growing at a very decent rate. And it's safe. It's safe. I only just found out about this at 27 years old, but if I knew about these whole life policy with cash value, if I knew about this when I was 18, 19 and started putting away back then, I'd have enough money right now to take out tax-free, and I could put down payments on a few investment properties. I mean, it drives me nuts that I didn't know about this. I have 0 properties right now. I can go from 0 to 3 with no sweat off my back. It really, it's been driving me nuts that I didn't know about this, and I feel like most people don't. Um, you hear life insurance and you're like, oh, yeah, okay, life insurance. I don't have a family right now. I'm not old. I'm not going to die, blah, blah, blah. I don't need it. Life insurance you can use while you're alive. It's crazy. A lot of people don't know. It has to be, it has to be the right policy. But if you set yourself up with the right one, the life insurance is another investment vehicle for you to supplement your 401k and your houses and your this and whatever you got going on. This is always another good one to have. And I'm not talking about this just to solicit business, because yes, I do. I have my life insurance license. This is what I'm trying to help people with. But go get it on your own. Whatever you want. Don't, just research it. Research it. Go talk to someone. You can always shoot me an email. We'll talk about it. It's such a good investment to me. I really love the thought of it. You're literally putting money away into this that's gaining, like mine, for instance. My life insurance policy is 6.5% interest I'm getting on my money. I mean, where are you going to get 6.5% interest safely with literally no risk. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I definitely think that that's something that people should look into and start. If I would have started this, like I said, when I was 18, I can get those investment properties now. So just look into it. On top of everything else, that's another thing. And listen, don't wait to get any of your investments. Get your investments and wait. Right? That's what they say, and keep adding to them. But listen, that's my advice to someone younger than me. It's just learn, never stop learning, and work. Don't use your 4 years in college as an excuse not to work. I was a salesman full time at a Lexus dealership in Brooklyn. I was 20, 21 years old. I was making like 50, 60, $70,000 a year as a college student. And I did a lot with that money. I was able to save it and get some things that it was, don't use college as, oh, this is, 4 years to just mess around. No, you're putting yourself at a big disadvantage. Have fun, have plenty of fun, but just work, save, learn, and just start. Because listen, 10 years from now, which goes in the blink of an eye, you'll be saying, wow, I should have started this 10 years ago. And so start now, and then you don't have to say that in 10 years. You'll be too busy on your eighth vacation of the year if you start now.
It's
So
true.
that's my thing. Just start now.
Yeah. Take action. It's a big one.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, hey, Joe, I really appreciate you coming on here and talking for this part one. And I look forward to touching base here in a few months, a year, whatever, and seeing exactly
Absolutely.
where everything went with this and watching it grow.
Absolutely. And I like that. That's accountability. So now I have to keep
It's
working
true. Yeah,
because we
because
got
we're
another
going to do a
podcast
part
coming.
two. If the part two is me talking and saying, I don't know what happened to Joe, I can't get a hold of him. I guess he failed. Then I'm doing a part two. No, just kidding. No, I'm excited. Yeah, we'll stay in touch for sure. And I'll
All
hit
right,
you
brother.
up on a
Thank you.
pizza and beer when I come out there.
Absolutely. We'll go out. We'll have a good time. I'll show you New York.
Sounds good. Have a great day.
You too, brother. Thank you.